Hi, it's Jon Mitchell, Mayor of New Bedford, and this is another installment of the Mayor's Weekly Update. So, one big item of discussion this week has been the replacement of the New Bedford Fairhaven Bridge. We're all familiar with the bridge, right? Everybody has gone over it, and everybody's familiar with the traffic jams over the years. And although it is in my view, a very attractive-looking bridge and an antique of sorts, it's really obsolete. The traffic jams over the years have only seemed to have gotten worse. And because the bridge is what's called a swing bridge that turns open like this, as everyone's familiar with it, it sits on a pedestal. And because that pedestal is in the middle of the harbor, larger vessels can't get through the passageway. It's just too narrow. So over the years, I have advocated for the replacement of the bridge with something more modern, something that would reduce traffic jams there, would open and close much more quickly, and less often. It would be a little bit higher to allow smaller boats to get through. And it would allow for a wider passageway so larger vessels could get into the northern harbor, which would allow for some more business opportunities there and more job creation. So at long last, this project has traction. We've been working with the state on getting in place a pathway toward construction. It's a long pathway because it's a big project, but it's a pathway nonetheless. The state is about to embark on a planning effort that will take some time. They've got to spend a fair amount of time engineering the site and looking at different alternatives. They're likely to settle on one or two alternatives, either a bridge that's a type that's called a bascule bridge that opens like this, kind of like the Paid-Nairn Bridge, or a vertical lift bridge in which the roadway rises up and down along two towers, kind of like the rail bridge on the Cape Cod Canal, if you're familiar with that. So it's a long way of saying this is a major project that is starting to move forward, and it's going to be incumbent upon everybody to continue to push, to let their voices be known about the project on what we think is necessary to improve its functionality, to get it to work better and not jam up and not cause traffic delays, to ensure that larger vessels get through, and to make sure that the businesses nearby are not unduly disrupted during the construction season. So we're excited about the fact that it's moving forward, and it's really the final piece. I shouldn't say the final, but one of the last main big pieces of infrastructure that we need to take care of in order to modernize the Port of New Bedford. We've had a lot of improvements over the last few years, lots of stuff in the pipeline, and this is one real big one. So we're grateful that this is moving forward. The second thing I just want to talk about today is that, and you've seen it in the news, you've seen it on social media perhaps, and that is there's been a spate of fires recently, not just any fires, but fires that have required life-saving measures, and successful ones, thankfully. And they've occurred in different parts of the city just in the last week on Madeira Avenue, Coggeshall Street, and Tremont Street. Of those three, two of them involved life-saving measures by the fire department and EMS. The first thing I want to say about it is that those personnel did a great job getting in there. A number of police officers participated as well in those savings, those efforts to save people, and it worked. And so we're grateful for that. It does raise the occasion to talk about fire safety, though, and the two, the instance on Madeira Avenue and the one on Tremont Street, these are fires that were caused by what firefighters refer to as discarded smoking material. In other words, somebody didn't put out a cigarette. And so it's really important that we keep these simple things in mind, right? Simple measures in mind when you think about the possibility of fires in your house. It might seem remote, but these things do happen. And what we're trying to do is just sensitize folks to the fact that if you have a lot of material around your house, if you've got piles of stuff in places, that can fuel a fire or obstruct the exit from a house that's on fire. That's something you're going to need to deal with. Smoking material does lead to fires, and so that's something to consider as well. Our fire department is going to hold an event on Saturday, and you can find it on the city's website, down at the South Public Safety Center on Brock Avenue, to show off a lot of the stuff that they have. But the fire department is really pushing hard to educate the public on the risks of fire, what you need to do. I would just ask everybody to take a couple minutes and consider how those suggestions apply to your household, because we see it all the time. We see it far too often that people have a struggle to get out of their houses and require extraordinary measures by our first responders. So please keep that in mind. The last thing I just want to say is Chowderfest is this weekend. The weather looks good. We hope people get out there. I'm particularly curious to see who has the best chowder this year. It changes from year to year. I think the competition forces everybody to raise their game and improve their chowder, which is kind of a fun thing, but we're blessed as America's leading seaport to have lots of places that serve good clam chowder. And so you'll probably see me down there at some point. I'm going to get down there and try it for myself. I'm not going to tell anybody which favorites I'm picking, because I don't want to get myself in trouble, but I hope to see you down there. With that, this has been the Mayor's Weekly Update. I'll see you next week.